This is a story about something that actually happened to me. And to this day, I still don't feel comfortable talking about it, because what I'm about to tell you is something I experienced completely alone. And honestly, I still don't know how I made it out of that situation. This happened a few months ago, after I moved into a new apartment. At first, everything seemed normal. Quiet neighborhood, small apartment, nothing unusual. But after a few nights, I started noticing small things, things that didn't make sense. And then, one night, I realized something that still terrifies me to this day. Someone was living inside my closet. I woke up at 3:18 a.m. to the sound of my closet door slowly opening. At first, I thought I was still half asleep, but then I heard it again. A slow, soft creak. My eyes opened completely. The room was dark, completely silent, except for one thing: breathing. Slow, careful, quiet breathing, coming from inside my closet. I froze. My entire body went stiff. I live alone. No one else was supposed to be there. But the breathing continued, slow, like someone trying not to be heard. I slowly reached for my phone. My hands were shaking. The second I grabbed it, the breathing stopped. Immediately, the silence felt heavy, like whoever was inside realized I was awake. I didn't move. I just stared at the closet, trying to see something in the darkness. Then, the closet door moved slightly. Just a tiny movement, but enough to make my stomach drop. Someone was inside. I had moved into this apartment about 2 weeks earlier. It was small, one bedroom, old building. The closet door was wooden and slightly broken. Sometimes it made noise. But this was different. This sounded controlled, like someone slowly pushing it open. Then, I heard a soft scratching sound from inside the closet. My heart started racing. My throat went dry. I finally turned on my phone flashlight, slowly, carefully. I pointed it toward the closet. The door was slightly open, but I couldn't see inside. Just darkness. I swallowed. I didn't want to get up, but I also couldn't stay in bed. So I slowly sat up. Every movement felt loud, too loud. I stepped closer. I stepped back slowly. Something was very wrong. I decided to check the rest of the apartment. Living room, nothing. Kitchen, nothing. Front door, still locked. Windows, closed. Everything normal. I felt stupid. Maybe I was just imagining things. I went back to my bedroom. The closet door remained closed. I got back into bed, turned off the flashlight, closed my eyes. Then, I heard movement again. Inside the closet, a slow shifting sound, like someone adjusting their position. My eyes opened immediately. I stared at the closet. Then, I heard something worse, a soft whisper. I couldn't understand the words, but it was definitely a voice. My heart started racing again. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight. Slowly, I walked toward the closet. I stood there, trying to build courage. Then, I slowly opened the closet door. Nothing, just clothes, shoes, boxes. Everything looked normal. I exhaled slowly, relief. I turned to go back to bed. Then, I heard it, a footstep, behind the clothes, inside the closet. I turned instantly. Everything looked still. But then, I noticed something. My clothes were moving slightly, like something behind them had shifted. My heart stopped. I slowly pushed the clothes aside, and that's when I saw it. A small gap in the back wall, big enough for someone to hide. My hands started shaking. Then, I heard breathing again. From inside the gap, Slow, quiet, human breathing. Someone was inside my closet, watching me. I backed away slowly. Then I ran out of my room, grabbed my phone, and called 911. My voice was shaking. I told them someone might be inside my closet. They told me to leave immediately. I stepped outside my apartment, closed the door behind me, and waited in the hallway, my heart racing. Seconds felt like minutes. Then, I heard something inside my apartment. Footsteps walking, slow, careful. Someone was definitely inside. Then, my apartment door slowly opened by itself. I froze. I was standing outside, meaning someone inside opened it. The door opened slightly, but no one came out. Just silence. Then, the door slowly closed again. My stomach dropped. I felt sick. Police arrived a few minutes later. 2 officers entered carefully. One walked toward my bedroom. The other stood near the door. Then, the officer called out, "Sir, we found someone." My heart stopped. They pulled a man out of my closet. He looked thin, dirty, messy hair, like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't resist, just stared at the floor. The officer asked, "How long have you been here?" For a moment, I couldn't even move. A week. He had been inside my closet for an entire week, watching me, listening to me, sleeping just a few feet away from me every night. My hands started shaking. The officer slowly pulled him out from the closet. He didn't resist. He looked tired, weak, and strangely calm, like he expected this to happen. They sat him down in my living room. One officer continued searching my bedroom. Then he called out, "You're going to want to see this." I slowly walked toward my room, my heart pounding. The officer pointed inside the closet, behind my clothes, inside the hidden gap. There were empty water bottles, food wrappers, a small blanket, and something else. My stomach dropped when I saw it. It was one of my t-shirts, folded, like someone had been using it. He had been wearing my clothes, living inside my closet, using my things, while I slept, just a few feet away. I suddenly remembered something. 3 nights earlier, I thought I heard movement in my room, but I ignored it. I told myself it was just the building settling. Now I realized it was probably him, walking around my room while I was asleep. The officer asked him, "How did you get in?" He pointed toward my bedroom window. It wasn't locked properly. He must have entered at night while I was asleep, then found the gap inside my closet and stayed there, listening, watching, waiting. Then the officer asked something that made my stomach turn. "Did you leave the closet while he was sleeping?" The man nodded slowly. "Sometimes." I felt my chest tighten. That meant he had been walking around my apartment while I slept. Maybe standing next to my bed. Maybe watching me. Maybe even closer than that. I suddenly felt sick. Then the man looked at me and quietly said, "I tried not to wake you." Those words still haunt me. The officers took him away shortly after, but I couldn't stay there. I packed a small bag that same night and left. I stayed at a friend's place for a few days. I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow felt wrong. I kept thinking, what if I never woke up that night? Would he still be there, watching me? 2 days later, I went back to my apartment to collect my things. I didn't want to go alone, so I brought my friend with me. Everything looked normal, too normal, but something still felt off. I packed my clothes, my laptop, my personal things. Then, while packing my closet, I noticed something. A small piece of paper taped inside the closet wall. My hands started shaking. I slowly peeled it off. There was handwriting on it, messy, uneven. I read it, and my stomach dropped. It said, "You sleep very deeply." I felt cold. My friend looked at me. "What's wrong?" I handed him the paper. Neither of us spoke for a few seconds. Then we finished packing quickly and left. I moved into a new apartment the next week. Better security, new building, different area. I thought everything was finally over. But then, about 5 days later, I noticed something strange. My closet door was slightly open. I was sure I'd closed it. Just like before. My stomach dropped. I slowly got out of bed. Step by step, I moved closer, my heart pounding louder with each step. I reached the closet. Then slowly, I opened it. Nothing. Empty. Just my clothes. No gap, no hiding place. Nothing. I exhaled. Relief. Just paranoia. After everything, my mind was playing tricks on me. I closed the closet, turned around, started walking back to bed. Then, I heard something behind me. A whisper. So quiet. I almost didn't hear it, but I did. Right behind me. "You moved." My heart stopped. I slowly turned around. The closet door was now slightly open again. And inside, I saw something